Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frank Donga, and you're listening to Boom Radio. Boom Radio. Keep listening. Don't touch it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Boomba reaching you from Lagos, Nigeria. Very wet Lagos, I must say. My name is Shola Rogers.
My name is Zola Jolokwo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Like he had said, it is the Boombar on your Boom Radio NG, and this is where we give you everything about sports, entertainment, politics, anything newsworthy, right? Really. And like we say, everything else in between. Everything else in between can take us anywhere. And my name, Oladolupo.
Again.
Any which way, we're going to be talking about a few things today. President Tinubu's in the news. Has been in the news for past couple of days for different reasons. Also, the NDLEA seems obviously at this point looks like it's a weekly thing for them. They're always in the news, and for on their own side, they're in the news for all the right reasons. And Akitola Williams, if you do not know that name, you could just go right ahead and let us continue, and we will tell you why this very iconic name is making the news, and as he has passed away at the age of 104.
The wicked have done their worst. What a very
At 104.
Yes. Nobody will jubilate when anybody passes on.
At 104.
Yes.
Okay. I have no words at this point. Anyway, let's get right into it. And coming off the heels of the Presidential Petition Tribunal, which has caused a lot of talks and, been talking points for close to a week now. People are still talking about it. It is still a very controversial topic of the judgment, how it was given, why it was given, should it be given, people are going to the Supreme Court. Will the Supreme Court bring out anything? And, there's been a lot of back and forth on it. And even talking about how the president himself was not even around. Some people say that maybe he was scared. Some others say that he already knew, so he just left. He just really didn't care. And I think that people are actually... they can say whatever it is they want to say, but I just feel that people just need to be careful. Like, just be careful at this point. The kind of things you say so that you do not put yourselves into trouble. But anyway, talking of that, we know that the president has not been around since, I think, last Monday or Tuesday. Not sure exactly when. And we know that he went to India. I had a few meetings before the G20 summit. The G20 summit is over. And the conversation is that the president is having a stopover at United Arab Emirates for a conversation around the diplomatic issues between the country and Nigeria. We know that there are a lot of visa bans, and getting visa to the UAE is hellish now. Literally. Sadly, because of a minute set of people, I would say that categorically, because they do not represent the whole of Nigeria or Nigerians or well-meaning Nigerians, but they also are just a very tiny number when it comes to decisions that affect a lot more people just because a tiny set of people decided to just be. Anyway, moving on from that. So the president is said to be visiting the UAE to talk about it. Yesterday I saw a thread where a particular person had tweeted, and a lot of people have been going on and on and on about it, that it will be a major win if the president can actually finally end this impasse. Because remember that there were a lot of, before we got to this point, there were a lot of airplanes and airlines banning each other and all that and all that. So there's supposed to be a meeting. He's supposed to be there with the Minister of Aviation and Foreign Affairs Minister, to sit down and maybe find a final solution to this issue. I've also heard some people talk about how UAE is not that important, that Nigeria is bigger than that, and you should not go about begging them for anything, that Nigeria can do without the UAE, and just, they can go to blazes.
Okay, interesting. Once again, thank you for joining us at the Boomba. It's been a minute. And first things first, let me address this talk about Nigeria being big and all of that. It's not about how big you are. It's about international law and diplomacy. In the grand scheme of things, everybody finds its own niche, its own position, its own place. But no country is an island, even if you are an island. Like the UK is, but of course, they are still a part of the larger body of nations. So, yes, it's not about being big or being small. The truth is, this is one of the countries that we interact with the most when it comes to commercial activities. A lot of Nigerians have built their businesses from trading, importing and exporting goods to the UAE, especially importing though. But yes, some people also dabble into exportation. And a lot of Nigerians have also found work there. Like regular Nigerians have actually found work in the UAE. They go there and they thrive. Well-meaning Nigerians who are hardworking and all. The truth about this is beyond that status of big or small. Some of us, we cannot deny the fact that they are Nigerians, have taken it upon themselves to exhibit their animalistic behaviors. Now, trust me, this has nothing to do with tribe or creed. It just has something to do with some set of bad Nigerians, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, whatever. So before people start to help me put words in my mouth, no, it's not about tribe. It's about bad Nigerians.
Yeah.
And they cut across all tribes. But they've gone there and they've done a whole lot of nasty things. There's a video that's gone very viral now, especially on X, aka Twitter, and it's of Nigerians protesting, or a standoff between Nigerians and the Pakistani police.
I saw that video, and to be honest, first things first, what comes to my mind is, what are you guys doing? Like, I'm like, what goes through these people's minds when they do this kind of despicable things? You're not even in your country.
They went as far as saying, shoot us and all of that.
Like, are you joking?
So this is what we're referring to.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to desecrate the Nigeria police or anything. Some of these things, you can't even get away with it in Nigeria.
So
what exactly is your problem?
That's one way to look at it. And a South African jumped on that video and said, why can't you people just stay in your country? That this is what you do everywhere, and that they do it also in South Africa. Yeah, look, at times you're ashamed. You're embarrassed as a Nigerian that there are Nigerians who are being seen as people like that, who are always fomenting trouble and who are always breaking the law and all of that. But you see, the larger chunk of us as a nation and as a people, we are law-abiding, hard-working people. Now, the thing about immigration, illegal or not, is that most people are only just looking for the golden fleece. They're just in search of, the place where they think the grass is greener. And that's why they find themselves always wanting to go to other countries. And when they go there, they usually contribute positively. Usually. But yes, I can't rule out these bad people. So the president going there is to smoothen out those rough edges about the things that had happened in the past. But not just that. There are business transactions that have been trapped, which were caused by some of the policies of the suspended, allegedly corrupt CBN governor, allegedly. I said allegedly 4 times.
We've heard
Allegedly.
you. We heard you the first time.
Is not guilty until proven guilty. So he's under probe, he's under investigation. But some of his policies actually also, caused problems. Like most of the foreign airlines could not repatriate their funds.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of problems. And it also affected the Nigerian airlines because you know how diplomacy works. If our flag carrier or our top airline can't come through, then yours can't too. There's just always one.
There's always one
funny thing
issue, yeah.
And so if they push at you, you must push back. If they throw, I remember the South African airline and some funny games they played. Nigeria did their own back immediately, sent some people back to and said, where are your own documents of what's that thing? That yellow cards and stuff. So back and forth, it happens like that. So I think it's a good thing because one, we are people who are adventurous, who like to travel, who like to explore, and we are very hardworking. So if we have honest Nigerians who, by their own volition, have chosen to go and work and live in these places, or go there for holidays or to transact business, it won't be a bad idea if we smoothen out all the
issues,
diplomatic issues that are bedeviling that industry.
Really, I totally agree with you, but also I feel that whatever it is that the president is going to do, Nigeria also has to find a way, if it is to make people sign undertakings, so that listen to my angle. What I mean is that so that you can say for a fact that, okay, this so and so person, whatever this person does, you shouldn't attribute it to the country as itself. Take this person as an entity and punish them accordingly.
Two Nigerian men were recently extradited to the US. They were allegedly instrumental to the suicide of a young, innocent American man.
Yeah.
Boy, a teenager. It was a very young boy. And if you look at it, it was not difficult for the US authorities to ask for these people to be arrested and taken to the US for judgment, because that's where the crime was committed, even if it was done from Nigeria. Abi?
Yeah.
Was there a problem there? The other day, you heard about the Nigerian woman who was also extradited to the US.
No, that's a different conversation because these people were in Nigeria.
It's not.
The people in the UAE.
It's not. I was just trying to establish that once you have this agreement or this arrangement with a certain country or any country, then it can go back and forth. What that basically means is that Nigeria should have that kind of arrangement with the UAE. And in the sense that now, for every Nigerian that has committed a crime, let the laws of your land, take its full course.
Full course, I agree.
When they are done, they send them back to Nigeria, and Nigeria still deals with them. That's the way it's been in the past.
Yeah, we can't continue to be paying for the sins of just a few set of people.
That's my point. So it is when they finally realize that, oh, really and truly, this crime that you are committing, you are going to pay 2 ways for it. It's not the one that even after you're done in the UAE or any other country or South Africa that you go to commit crime, then they will let you go and you start. No, you now come back to Nigeria and you say you did this and that with a Nigerian passport. You have disgraced your country. You are still going to continue your punishment here. Then when they are now done, then you can now set them free. You will see how that will drastically cut down, the criminals who think that they can travel.
Do you know,
and
it's ridiculous. It just makes it worse every time. And that's why even countries that do not even ban Nigerians, you get to some countries, you get to some airports, and because you're Nigerian, they're checking you, that you go through extra checks just because they profiled you. And at times, yes, people, we all make this noise that they shouldn't profile us. But the truth is that some set of people, you can't blame. I totally don't blame some of these immigration officers that do it, because there are a few people that have put Nigeria in a bad light.
I don't know if it's Seychelles or
Seychelles are. Yeah.
or so. They have
also banned
basically said, you know
Nigeria.
what, we don't even want to see you people
Yeah.
again. It's not even about visa ban now. You know, the UAE will still say from this age to this age. These ones are saying, for now, stay in your country. Now, this is a country that is visa on arrival.
Yeah.
Now they are saying to you,
They don't even want to
Don't
see
even
you.
come.
They're not even going to give you.
don't even come.
It's a very, very
Any
sad
country
thing.
that is visa on arrival is saying we need people.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to come and spend your money here, tourism, trade, and whatever. And they're saying to you, OHA, like Nigeria, don't come to our country for this period. We don't want to see you. So these are the issues. But until the Nigerian government itself, really clamps down, it's not that you're going to be there's a part where Nigerians are treated unfairly and you stand up for them.
Oh yeah.
We get that part. But the part where Nigerians are the ones who are the perpetrators of
Badly
this crime,
behaved. They need to
let the law take its full course.
I totally agree on that, and that's also calling on the National Assembly to actually put laws in place for this kind of things to happen. Now, still talking about the president, he has now been invited by the United States Chamber of Commerce to ring the closing bell of NASDAQ. That's the National Association of Securities Dealers and Automated Quotations in the United States. That is ranked second behind the New York Stock Exchange on market capitalization. Now, he's supposed to ring this bell. This is part of the sidelines of the events that he's supposed to go through when they get to the United Nations General Assembly, the 78th edition of the UNGA in New York. And according to them, they're saying that this symbolizes the significance of economic ties between United States and Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a lot of things to unpack on this one.
Yeah.
For the people who are still, saying, oh, it's not their president and all of that, they don't want to hear these kind of things. Because there's actually a story that it cannot enter the USA. There's a story like that. Even at the weekend when the G20, shall I say the G21 now, with the admittance of the African Union into that body. So the G20 or G21, as you might want to call it, there were insinuations that he wasn't even invited. Why was he standing alone in one corner and all of that? Can you show a picture of him with any world leader? Did you even see him with Biden and all of that? Apparently, of course, he took pictures with Biden when they went to Bad Rajat. I hope I didn't mix it up. That's where Mahatma Gandhi's monument is at, where they went to pay tribute to him. All of those things actually leads to politics. Like, why is he now being invited by NASDAQ? How come he's going to... Some people, because it's UNGA, that's why he's going to go. He cannot leave the confines of... You're going to hear that, don't worry. I can guarantee you that. But the thing is, regardless of how you say it, Nigeria is indeed a big player out there.
Yeah.
And as biting as some of these decisions are that President Tinubu has made, they are actually the things that the whole world was expecting us to do. You understand? Like, we've been subsidizing a lot of things for decades, and it does not augur well when it comes to international trade. So there are certain aspects of the trade that people will like, just leave those people. They're enjoying their money.
They don't understand
Leave
how
them.
it
They
works.
don't know how it works. So I see the feedback, and the whole world is like, well, you guys are taking some giant strides, all within the space of 100 days, or less. So, of course, the NASDAQ and co, they see it. Also remember that since he became president, the Nigerian bourse, Nigerian stock market, has gained and hit a record high. Some presidents have had that too. I know Obasanjo,
Yeah.
but none has
Not this
gone this high
consistent, yeah.
and lasted this long. I stand to be corrected. So the business world is looking at all of these things. Like after the decision at the PEPC, the stock went up again.
Yeah.
So all of those things, the business people are looking at it and they are taking position. So it's a good one for Nigeria as a country, but this does not negate the people who still feel that they have a case at the Supreme Court. It doesn't negate it. They should still go ahead and carry on.
It definitely doesn't negate it.
Their need to,
but
to get
I
their
feel
mandates.
that before we get to that point, or anyway, don't let me say, because once there's Supreme Court judgment, there is nothing else to talk about.
As the final.
Also, remember that is going to happen in less than 60 days now.
Yeah. There's a window.
There's a window that, and I think that I was reading a statement. I can't remember who exactly was talking about it. About how the judiciary and even the federal government, starting from Lagos State, had decided to reduce those things that these tribunals could have used to go on for 30, 40 months.
At
a point. And I think that it makes sense that we are where we are now when it comes to those things, so that
the earlier
the better we can get it away. We can get away from it.
Or get a new person in as quick as
Or
possible.
get a new person in. There's been a lot of talks about if the the Supreme Court is going to, just before we came into the studio, I was watching a video of, I think this was an interview yesterday of Robert Clark, SAN, where he was talking about how he does not feel that there's going to be anything different, especially when there's a unanimous judgment from the appeal court. He doesn't feel that there's going to be any difference, especially when you go to a higher court, you don't add anything to your
it's the
chance
evidence that you presented already that is going to be represented. It's the judgment from there that you have studied that you will now take there.
Exactly. So like, he doesn't feel anything is going to come out of it. But yes, we know that we can't say anything about those things categorically. But I feel that also a lot of people going on about how I was listening to a space on Saturday where someone was going on about how Tinubu cannot be a president, will never be her president. And I think that I'm not preempting what the Supreme Court is going to come up with. I'm just saying that until we get another judgment, I think that people should not live in, I think people are trying to live in a bubble.
If they want to, it's your bubble. Does
because
that bubble
till
affect
tomorrow, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, but allow people to live in their bubbles.
Where you go, if like I remember seeing a skit a few weeks ago where a person was talking to their child that a certain person is the president and all that. I don't know if you've seen that skit before.
It's very old.
A child
came
comes
out as far back as February.
Oh, then a child comes and then says school was very easy.
Went for a scholarship test.
And what was the question? And that
who's the president?
Who is the president? And it was the person that his mom was going on about was who the child put it. Of course, it was wrong. And so I'm like that. As much as we want to say some things or we want to believe some things, let's be realistic.
Okay. So the thing about it that I get and I see, is that a lot of people are getting involved in politics for the first time.
True.
And they are learning what you might have learned a couple of windows or election cycles ago. You get, well, I might have learned a few days ago. That's one. So it's experience that is the best teacher. That's one. Two, a lot of people do not read, study, or listen to programs, especially like the Boomba, where we do in-depth analysis and break down based on facts.
If you
do you understand?
Had listened to the court judgment, then I feel a lot of people are just going off on things that they heard.
So those are the issues. Like, you don't listen, you do not learn, you do not read. You don't read. Now, not only do you not do that, you are now driven majorly by sentiment. And I'm talking about a lot of people out there. And those are the people that you see, for instance, if you understand protocols and systems, say for instance, if the governor is going to be at an event, you must be in before X number of time because you are in that system, right?
Yeah.
The governor comes in as the highest placed person, then you say you want to walk in. You know that protocol will not allow you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? These are the things. But if you understood it, you would not have made that blunder. Once you get there, you see that the governor is there or the president is already there. What do? You turn back or go and stay in your car because you know that you'll be breaching protocol.
Yeah.
So it's understanding these things, and it is about knowledge. And people are not seeking knowledge. They are now being driven majorly by their influencers who also are not knowledgeable or who are deliberately subverting the facts, because they think that's what their people want to hear. So this is where we are. That's why people will complain about things that are glaring, that they know that if they had read the laws, they would understand what the law says. For the judgment to be the way it was at the PEPT is 1. 2, most of the prayers or the petitions have already been handled even by the Supreme Court.
Earlier.
So you are now going to the Supreme Court to reinterpret something that they have already interpreted in certain instances. So this is why I'm saying it early now that I also do not feel that the judgment will be different from what we got last week. That's my opinion. If you're listening and you don't like it or you like it, it's your choice. But it's our job to also calmly explain and break it down and make people see that, sentiments aside, the law is PIP. It does not respect anybody. What it does is to take the facts that are available and work with it. And that's where we are on this matter. That's where we are. So, we'll continue to do our own bit and continue to, educate people and inform people. That's what we signed up for.
Okay, and moving on from that, still talking a bit of the federal government. The federal government, according to the Minister of Education, has now said that is set to increase. The federal government is set to increase education funding by 25%. He made this known today when declaring the 2021-2022 Nigeria Annual Education Conference in Abuja. And they're saying that the intention is to bridge the gap between education policy declarations and the implementation outcomes.
Waiting to exhale collapses lungs. Because I was going to say I will hold my breath. But I'm like, the next budget will not be out until if we're lucky, sometime in November, December this year. So I'll probably not be able to hold my breath that long. But I will hold it mentally. It will be a shock, a pleasant shock, if any government in Nigeria can actually live up to this 25% allocation to education. Because I do not think it's something that we've taken that serious. And if we can, it will be a great thing for this country.
I think that really and truly, the education has really lacked. It's been back and forth. I would say that one major place that we can see a little bit of advancement in education is in the leadership of JAMB. Really, I'm sorry, but basically, we've not seen a lot of improvement in education ministry in Nigeria over the years. It is nice that the education minister now, even though he was the VC of the Labour Party's university, Labour Party's vice presidential candidates university, to be honest with you, when he was announced as a ministerial nominee, I had not seen one single bad comment about the man. I did not. I personally did not. I actually did check. I did not. So maybe it comes off as someone that, can really pull this off. And I'll really be happy if we can pull this off. And I feel that, yes, there's a lot of talks about tertiary education and all that, but our primary education needs to go back. Sadly, even these allocations and all, is really more, because it's coming from the federal government, is really more about tertiary institutions, because primary education, especially the nursery and the primary and basically secondary school, except for like unity schools that are for federal government, is really based with the state governments. So maybe the Ministry of Education also needs to look into what the state governments can do, as much as the federal government is trying to increase allocation. Yeah, they should also look into how much, I don't know if they can look into how the state governments also can really do a lot. There are only a few states in Nigeria that we know that there's a lot of investment that is going into the primary education. Sadly, there are a lot of things like education in the primary education in the north, even in the south. Is, take for example, I remember a few weeks ago, I think it was before elections, I'm not sure, remember the video where some miscreants, more like terrorists, were hitting young children because they came to school, and because you claim you had ordered an illegal
sit at home. And for those kind of people and the parents that they have, I will not blame a parent who comes up and says that my children are not going to school again, or children that take for example in the northeast, northwest, that maybe have had children that have been kidnapped earlier, or all those things. You really can't blame when some of these people say that their children are not going to school anymore. So I think that states, it is from the primary level, we need to do a lot, from sensitization to security. Securing these children as well will do a lot in helping. So yes, I think this is a forward-thinking thing. But like you had said, the implementation is one thing. But also, even if they're going to implement it, they also need to find a way to make state governments also replicate the same things. Because what's the point of funding tertiary institution when the bunch of people coming from the primary and the secondary going into this tertiary they're just not up to par? That's it. So bottom line, again, funding in the right place, and make sure that the funds get to the right people. But again, also to realize again and again, just as we move away from this, that the federal government's job, is majorly a certain aspect of education. You get, while it's more on the local government and the state to reach the primary and secondary schools.
Yeah. Now moving on from that, let's do a little bit of security, as a British Royal Navy warship HMS Trent has now arrived in Lagos. They say that this is the warship is visiting Nigeria for the second time. This is to aid. They say that the mission is to aid British allies and partners to combat piracy, trafficking, and other illegal activities. Really, I personally think that whatever it is that the Nigerian Navy has been doing in the past couple of years is definitely paying off. In the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of international ships and all that docking in Nigeria, and it's a very, very good thing. It's really is a very good thing that Nigerian waters are now safe enough for these people to actually feel that they need to come. I think it's a very good thing. And I will not say that, let's call it spade a spade. President Tinubu probably couldn't have done this in just 100 days. I think kudos to even the military have all talked about the giant strides that former President Muhammadu Buhari, maybe because he's a military man himself, and it's seeing how much the army really does need, the army, the navy, the air force. But I feel that the administration of Buhari actually did a lot to boost everything that has to do with the Nigerian military.
Yeah, if you look at how far criminals will go to, perpetrate their crime, there's a video, there's a video that I think was released by the U.S. Coast Guard. There's some light submarines that drug traffickers use Now, to build a submarine or to buy one is not child's play. But they actually built light ones that can go just slowly, slightly below the surface.
And you won't notice them.
You're not supposed to. So, and they use them to convey drugs. And they actually busted one.
Yeah.
You understand? So, imagine because of the level of technology that they have at their disposal and how powerful their navy is and their coast guards, they can do that. But for African countries or other countries that do not have those kind of capacities to do, monitoring of their own coastal lines, what do you think is going to happen? That's why lately you see this upsurge of stolen crude, being reported, because now we're monitoring better. The Nigerian Navy is better equipped. The sister agencies that are also working on that one, NIMASA and co, they are better equipped now. So kudos to the immediate past president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, for equipping the military to the point where we can hold our own. But it will also be nice to now get to the point where if they are coming now, any of these warships, they're just coming for the ceremonials, because there are always these ceremonial trips that they take back. Nigerian Army has been part of one or two in recent times too, and in the past, so that we get to the next level. Maybe we also start to acquire our own submarines and more gunboats and bigger ships for moving troops from one point to the other.
Okay, now moving on from that quickly. So talking about security, the NDLEA, it's always a Sunday NDLEA. They're always releasing new things that they have done. Yeah,
how they say that Saturdays are for Owambe.
Sundays are for
NDLEA drug busts.
Anyway, they have come again and they had announced the interception of improvised explosive devices, what we all know as IEDs, that were being transported to Kaduna. Remember, Kaduna is somewhere that is very, very, there's a lot of security issues there. And they're saying from Ibadan, this person was a certain 33-year-old Leke Oluwagbemiga was arrested with no fewer than 399 pieces of IEDs along the Mokwa Jeba Road.
Now, the guy claims that he's just a transporter.
Yeah. And
I want to know how dumb you are, or how much, or how desperate you are, that they told you to move 399 units of IEDs.
And it was that much, and you don't know what is in it?
Yeah, either extremely dumb or extremely unfortunate. However,
no, that's not being unfortunate. That's just dumb.
It's still being unfortunate because he's going to pay one way or the other. Because ignorance is not a crime before the law. So as it stands now, of course, he has to produce the so-called customer that asked him to transport IEDs from Ibadan to Kaduna. Now, the most important aspect of this bust is the source. They need to get to the source, because who's to say that they are not concocting more IEDs?
The question is the factory, where it's coming from exactly. Yeah, I totally agree.
And if you look at the volatility of certain parts of Kaduna and the seemingly peaceful, life in Ibadan, where these IEDs were supposed to have been made, it shows that anything can happen.
Yes,
Ibadan
it's a very scary thing.
It's a 1 hour drive to Lagos. You understand?
It's a very scary.
It's easy to get to other parts of the southwest and other parts of Nigeria from Ibadan. So I think they need to really get
where
to the
it
source.
was going, where it was coming from.
Yeah,
it's
very important.
Very, very important. Now, moving on from that, and a bit of health issues where NAFDAC, that's the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, has said that they try to enhance the quality of herbal products to gain recognition on a global scale.
Yeah, this is a welcome development. Remember that about 2 weeks ago or so, right here, we talked about the United Nations.
The WHO, having the first ever sit down and all that about basically having a conference about alternative medicine. First time ever.
And this falls on that.
Yeah, I totally agree, because what we call what's it called? What we call herbal, Nigerian herbal products are just literally our own medicine. I don't even know why we call them herbal products, because at the end of the day, even the tablets that we all ingest, they're really all, except
They're
toxic.
supposed to be.
They're all
supposed to be extracts.
extracts from this so-called herbal products at the end of the day. But if NAFDAC really can get these things to global recognition, and some of these things, and whether we like it or not, if we really check, some of these things could actually be answers to global diseases.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's a bad thing.
we are so blessed with a lot of natural resources, and it's time that we research and help the practitioners really get better at what they do. Bring them from the 18th or 16th century into the current time that we're in.
The government also probably needs to pumping
without losing its efficacy.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think it is the way to go. Also, talking about NAFDAC, there's been something that's been going on for a couple of weeks about how a particular person has decided to be the pain in the neck of a lot of people that have skincare products. That's what it's called, skincare products. Now, this particular person, a very dark or very black dark man or something,
Very dark man.
has a way of I want to use call it out boldly people that seem to have companies and have a lot of skincare products, beauty products, but we seem to see over time, because I think that one thing that I appreciate about what he's doing is a lot of things that we overlook. Take, for example, there was a particular brand that he talked about that I think it was last week that he had given 2 hours to put out a statement that their brand did not have a proper certification and all that. Funny enough, the branding is I've been seeing this.
It's a men's brand.
It's a beautiful brand. Looks beautiful, looks all that. In fact, over the weekend, I was talking about it with a cousin of mine. It was like that. It was this week he was actually about to say he actually wanted to go patronize there. Like, they have very good packaging at all. And my question is, if you go to this length to have a beautiful website, you have a product, the packaging, everything is good. Are you saying that you can't just do the right thing?
Doing the right thing is relative. To them, they have packaged, and they say business is about packaging. And they've been in business for about 2 years, if not more. So you can imagine how much they might have made from just doing their thing. It shows, on the one hand, the limited ability that the regulatory agency has in monitoring that sector. It shows that they are not, on top of it.
But the truth of the matter is that, can they really ever have enough personnel?
It's not only about personnel. It's about creating systems. It's about creating awareness. What would it cost them to look for a sponsor? And they have a 15-minute program on many radio stations to create more awareness. What will it cost them to take over the social media spaces and do their own? And what will it cost them to create a whistleblower system? So it's not about having 1 million people working for NAFDAC.
We need to
it's about being
get
creative.
people aware that this is when you want to buy this thing, this is what you should look out for.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
Totally agree.
My friend committed a traffic offense, and he was arrested by the road safety people. And they said, "Oh, we know you. You're a TV guy. Tonight on your show, you must talk about road safety and how people must not drive against traffic and whatever." And he did. Do you understand? Even if he means his organization will charge him, they have created awareness. So look at how road safety used to bring in a lot of people and make them ambassadors. Those are the things that they could do. There are a lot of things that they could do. So it's still on them and their own failure to monitor that. That's the fact. So people have decided, or 1 or 2 people have decided to step up. Now, the very dark man guy is actually reacting to feedback that he got. It was actually people that went to him. So you have a platform on TikTok, you're big and you're getting bigger. Help us talk about these things. And, sadly, some brands feel offended.
So maybe more people also need to use their platforms to talk about these things.
Exactly. So
Instead
that's what
of
I'm saying.
Promoting
That's why I'm saying that it is okay for them not to have enough resources, but they can use the little that they have.
Yeah.
You know, and they should look for more ambassadors and all of that. Look, there are celebrities out there that they can reach out to who have big platforms. There are media houses that they can reach out to that will be willing, even as a CSR,
to
help
actually
create awareness, because
more awareness.
every skin you save, every life you save, you know, is important to us.
For personally, I feel that kind of person, that kind of very dark bad Black should be talking to that kind of person at the moment. I also feel that so-called celebrities that try to... I personally feel that a lot of them just make money off these things, promote it. They don't even use a lot of these things. At this point, if you don't want to go to jail...
It's not just NAFDAC that is failing in that area. And I'm saying NAFDAC failing loosely. The competitions... agency, the consumer care people, I know Irukera and Co, they are doing okay, but there's also work for them to do in this regard. You know, there are people who need protection, and there's consumer protection issues around how people can come and endorse different things. Do you know how many celebrities endorsed several scams? Oh, come and buy Bitcoin. Come and do binary saving. And people.
And because these people have a massive following, people would always
buy into it. Then it becomes a scam, and nothing happens. And Nigerians will lose their monies, lose their head, lose everything. But the people who had made them delve into it,
nobody talks about it.
Nothing happens.
Nobody talks about it. I totally agree with you. Anyway, just need to be at the end of the day. We're also. It only
takes one or two Nigerians to go and actually sue some of these ambassadors.
Some of these people, yes.
Sue them. You told me to buy land with this company.
Yeah,
I bought the land. Look at what happened. I'm suing you because it was because of you I bought the land. By the time they do that they'll be checking before they endorse brands.
Yeah, I really think that these people need to be careful with the kind of things that they put out. But also at the end of the day, before you use things, before you buy things, I do not think that you should take everybody's word for that. Hook, line, and sinker. People need to do their own research as well before you buy creams, before you buy products, or whatever it is you want to buy because you saw an advert. You need to check for yourself, because it's really when you're using it for yourself, the consequences are literally going to be for you at the end of the day. So that's where that is. Now, moving on from that quickly. And let's go to Lagos State government. Still talking about security and safety. The Lagos State Safety Commission has now announced that the Lagos State government has closed down 8 event facilities around the state. Basically, they shut down 4 nightclubs and 4 event centers. Now, they're according to them, they're talking about why they closed this down was because they flagrantly violated and disregarded stipulated laws. They're saying that some of these clubs they did not have the use of proper signages to convey the message of no drugs, no firearms, and no underage club goers. They're talking about how some of them were found to actually have underage in those kind of places. Some of them had become a bed for drug sales and all that, and that's why these places were shut down.
Kudos to them for doing that. Let it be an ongoing thing, because this happens. You hear a lot about it, then it dies down, and it happens again. Why? Because rather than make it a constant, feature of your security system and apparatus, what you do is you make it occasional. And for every window you allow, those people, their gestation period is so faster. Before you know it,
they're up again.
They're up and running, and the clubs are already, selling drugs and doing all those things. So kudos to them. I hope it's something that they can even do in conjunction with other relevant agencies so that they can become a constant, because we must keep, the country safe, keep the state safe.
Okay, quickly before we go. Sadly, Nigeria's first indigenous chartered accountant, Akintola Williams, has passed on at the age of 104.
Yeah, the big part of this story is the longevity that Pa Williams actually, enjoyed. Happy for his life. Being Nigeria's first icon president and member. Like, you wonder what icon is if you're not a Nigerian. You'll be wondering. It's actually the of professional body for Nigerian chartered accountants, and it's a body that is so well structured and organized that virtually every accountant wants to be a part of it. There might be one or two other offshoots now, offshoots of ICANN, but ICANN is prestigious, and these are the people that you credit with that.
They began.
And as far back as 40, 50 years ago, he started his own firm, and the firm still, exists.
Has evolved into basically the biggest accounting firm. Anyway.
And recently, it was his 104th birthday in the month of August. And of course, he had not become a constant. We've known him all our lives. So
yeah,
it's a strange
feeling. It
It
is what it is.
Condolences to members of his family.
But it's beautiful when you're affiliated with someone that
ran a good race.
Yes, that is actually has such a huge personality in himself. Who he is just says a lot. Now, sadly, at least 28 people have died after a boat capsized in Niger State. Basically, one of the major issues there, which is mostly one of the major issues all the time, is always the overcrowding.
The way we risk our lives for a quick
It needs
buck
to be studied.
must be studied.
It needs to be studied. I agree.
Getting on water alone is a challenge.
Yeah.
We understand that people have to commute from one point to the other, but getting on water alone is a challenge. Then the operators of this thing, I don't know how they always do it, but they always get people
to risk their lives. Yeah. I think
these
also
are
there needs to
avoidable
be
deaths.
a lot of more awareness. Maybe a lot of people don't know the capacity of these boats and all that, but I feel that maybe a lot more awareness might actually
enforcement.
help. Yes, enforcement as well, where they get to the point where they're supposed to board. There should be some security officials at this point to stop people at a point that that is full, you can't go on anymore.
If people are licensed to ride motorbikes, they're licensed to drive cars,
There should be
they're licensed to drive trucks and trains. Why are they not licensed to drive these boats too? Why is it an all-comers affair? Why do people just get on and run? And they're not just running around on their own. They're actually moving goods and property
and people. Sadly, it's a very, very sad, very avoidable thing. Quickly, let's do a little bit of sports before we go. As starting from the African Cup of Nations, the AFCON qualifiers officially ended now. And I think everybody that is qualified know who they are. But Nigeria's last game was against Sao Tome and Principe, and it ended 6-0. I'm not sure a lot of people even bothered about this game, really, because the first leg of that game ended at 10-0.
A lot of people did bother. We bothered because, anytime the national team plays, there's a buzz.
No, what I mean by bother was they didn't think that it was going to be a walk in the park.
Well,
I felt
it's football, and at times when we say those things, it comes back to bite you, especially when it's the Super Eagles. I'm sorry. But yeah, Sao Tome and Principe, upcoming country, they're not doing badly. They're getting better at the game. But of course, they're coming up against the big guns, the Osimhens of this world, the Awunis, who have been guns blazing for their club sides this season. Each and every one of our strikers has hit the net at least 2 or 3 times out of 3 games. So yes, it was going to be that way. And massive atmosphere in Uyo yesterday. The stadium was packed to the rafters, largely due to support from the state governor, who I think decided to buy tickets for his people to go watch the game.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I hate that idea.
Why?
But let's leave that discussion for another day. yes, I want the team to be supported, but you must build your brand to the point where
People want
it
to
was
do it
before.
willingly.
We queued up in Surulere for miles to watch the Super Eagles in the 80s and the 90s.
We
You
hope
know?
to get there at some point.
So I don't like the idea of just throwing the gate open because it's not even good for business. But let's leave that. That's why hosting World Cups and stuff in Nigeria has always been about showing off rather than making money like other
yeah.
countries do.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that the Eagles did well. I felt like we're going to score up to 6 goals, and yes, they did. And Victor Osimhen is on his way, to. He beat Obafemi's record yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
I think Chukwueze also. So he's on his way now to catch up with Segun Odegbami.
Yes, I think so.
And
Now,
eventually Rashidi Yekini.
it's official in this Cup of Nations qualifiers. He has the highest number of goals that any African player has had. He's had 10 goals for this this part, and then we hope to see that as they go on to the Africa Cup of Nations. And even though I was reading that the new contract that was signed with the coach was that they will get to the semi-finals, and I'm like,
That's the target they usually set for these
why
coaches.
is there no target that you have to win?
Well, that's
Is
what they
Nigeria too small to win the anyway?
that's the
story
usual target.
Story for another day. The U.S. Open is officially over as Novak Djokovic wins his 24th Grand Slam. Also, we have a new player on the horizons with the women, as Coco Gauff has now won. Very young player. We see a lot of that in the in the U.S. Open. Even though we also saw a very young player in the men's. I think he got to the semi-finals as well. So it's beautiful to see.
About 10 years ago, Coco Gauff was in the stands dancing as a 8-9-year-old girl. She was actually dancing while the Serenas of this world were playing. She was excited. There's a video that's going around now. You see her in the same place now, 8, 9, 10 years after. She's a champion of the U.S. Open, and she's getting about $3 million a day about, and she's so excited. I am so happy for her. I'm so happy for the women's game.
Yeah.
And it's
we know that tennis has always been, when it comes to like women's sports, tennis has always been like a trailblazer.
Yeah,
when it comes to a lot
the fact that they have the same pulse also helps. And of course, a big shout out to Arianka. What's her name again? She Zabalenka.
Sabalenka, yeah.
There's a video of her where she was letting out her frustrations on her racket. She actually was, reminiscent of some of the players of past, but.
It is what it is.
It's going to be an interesting era. Maybe we're moving into the era of the Zabalenkas and the Gauffs.
Okay. And before we go, finally, Spanish football chief Rubiales has officially now resigned about 3 weeks after.
Well, we told him he held on for no reason because he had done the wrong things at the wrong times. He should have apologized first, but he kept on digging in. But now he's gone.
He is gone. We definitely see that. Also, PSG has lost another midfielder to the Saudis again.
A wise man once said, something big is happening.
It's money.
Something is happening in Saudi Arabia.
Money
we need to look
happening.
into it.
Money is definitely happening. Besides, I was going to ask, is there, what's it called, go to ever close?
Well, their transfer window.
We'll
find out. My biggest fear is, you see, some of these deals that you hear about, the monies don't exchange hands immediately. It's instrumental payment. Now, for UEFA, if you default, they know how to get the money from you. So all the teams in Europe always obey their contract. They try to. But in Saudi Arabia, the UEFA body cannot do anything to them. So if they start to default, like this, one more.
There's really nothing anybody could do about it.
It's in the mud, though.
It's in the mud. Anyway, finally, before we go, there's a story from Gabon saying that the military junta has now proposed the 2-year transition to civilian rule.
Congratulations to the
people of Gabon.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how that will go. We know that they've already been already been suspended.
Their brothers in Niger, tried to go to the United Nations. They were kicked out. Now their leader general was tweeting yesterday about how they see that troops have been being amassed along the borders of Benin and Senegal and all, and he's shouting and making. But I thought they said they were ready.
You said you were ready now. You should stay ready, as anything can happen. Anyway, on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do you have a beautiful day ahead?
Peace.